Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
And we're back, man. Episode 351.
Yes, sir.
Let's get right into it. All right, Kendrick Lamar obviously has been the topic of discussion all over America, but now he's got a tour that has been announced with him. It's a joint tour, him and SZA.
The Grand National Tour.
The GNX Tour, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, everybody wants to get their hands on these tickets. They're like, hey, how can I be a part of this whole rollout? So they're going online to get these tickets, and they are having problems because the prices of the ticket, like the website, it keeps crashing, and the people are reselling them, and it's fucked up. So if you want to get a ticket, like let's say in the nosebleeds, right, and you see it and it's for, what the hell is that noise? You hear that?
Yeah.
Is it a bird again?
We
We got violent pigeons that are over here near the studio. Anyways, people are going in for nosebleeds, and it's like $62, and then like they click on it, and it just shuts down. And when they go back to it, the ticket is $177. And it was people online crying. This girl was crying like, I know you say I'm doing a lot for crying, but it's so expensive, and I don't know why it's like this. This is not fair to all his fans that want to go. And it's like, look, I understand the tears. I get it. Life is expensive. Things cost money. I think she was crying more specifically over a $125 ticket.
Yeah.
What I'm not going to do is call people broke, because a lot of society doesn't have money. So let's be very fucking clear. But here's the deal, man. And life is unfair, but in order to have these experiences, you have to make more money. It's fucked up. I know. And I know it doesn't sound right, like make more money, but you have no choice. If you want to have experiences in life, you want to go travel, you want to do things, you have to make the money. I mean, there was another scenario in which somebody says like, damn, like, I'm thinking about taking out a loan on my house or going to, maybe getting just a different type of loan. So I go to this concert, and people are calling that person irresponsible and things of that nature. Multiple things are true about this. Yes, the tickets are high. Yes, it's unfair that they cost this much and a lot of his fans can't go. Yes, it's true that people need to make more money, but it's also true that if you want to like have these experiences, it's okay to like, hey, if your rent's coming up and you want to go to this concert, and fucking you could tell your landlord or whoever like, hey, rent might be like a week late because this happened, and you want to go to go to that concert, I say do it. And people may disagree. We're all gonna die someday, and I think the bills are always gonna be there. They're always gonna be there. I'm not saying don't take care of your business. That's what you need to be doing most of the time. But sometimes, fuck it, bro. What really changed my perspective on that is in 2021, I was able to take my father to a Laker game in a suite, and Keith was there also. And that really changed my perspective because my father died 8 months later. He died of cancer. And that experience is with me for the rest of my life. The Lakers ended up winning that game also. And I'll never forget that. And I think that the experience itself means so much more. And if the tickets like are $1,200 and shit, and they're super expensive, if you have the money and it's not going to completely bury you, buy the fucking ticket. Honestly, yeah, buy it. We're all going to die someday, man. These experiences they're not always going to be available. Those bills are always going to fucking be there, man. They're always going to be there. Now, if you about to get your electric cut off or something, I don't think you should do that. Right? Unless you're ready to get some candles out.
At least you'd be able to electric slide at the Kendrick show.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you can steal some electric from Kendrick's show. I don't know. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's just giving me a different perspective, a different lease on life after, seeing how happy my father was before he had passed. Yeah. And, what that experience meant to all of us, knowing that was the last major event that my father would attend before his passing. Yeah. So I just want to tell the people out there, like a dude, like if you got a girl and she loved Beyonce and the tickets come out and she's like, oh, hell no, these are just too expensive. I want to go, but I can't afford it. And let's say each ticket is $900. If you got the money, nigga, buy your girl them tickets.
Yeah, your dad was stoked too.
Yeah, he
like
loved
when
it.
He was trying to call you to tell you like, man, I'm about to go to a game, but we was already there. So it was a cool surprise.
Yeah, he didn't know we were at the game, and he kept calling and calling, and I kept like forwarding his call. And then when he was in a wheelchair at the time, and when he got wheeled in, he seen us, he's like, oh shoot. Yeah. So I thought that was super dope, and that's why I say, had I not experienced that moment, I would say like, nah, you shouldn't be doing that. Make sure you pay your bills. Don't be going to no concert if you got this bill due. But it's like, nigga, them bills always gonna be there. they're always going to be there. And yes, you should predominantly do the right thing, but man, fuck that, bro. And here's another one. I'm going to let you talk because I know you got something to say. If you got let's say you got a kid and he's a good kid, he gets good grades, and he really wants a PS5.
Like a good kid in a mad city.
Okay, all right. That's a play on Kendrick. All right, everybody give Keith a round of applause. Give him a round of applause, goddammit. He really dug in his bag for that one. If you got a good kid and he's really good in school and he's a really nice kid and he wants a PS5, but he's not like hassling you for it, and it's going to cost a lot of money, man, buy that kid that fucking PS5. Mm-hmm. Take your girl to that concert. Go take that vacation. Mm-hmm. If you and your wife if all you guys do is be parents all day and you got kids, man, take your wife to that concert and, maybe go hit a joint or something, and go fuck in the parking lot like you used to back in college.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, I'll just do that in there. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's just my take on this too, man.
Yeah. I think first of all, Kendrick doing a stadium tour is like mind blowing.
Absolutely.
Just the run he's been on since April. I don't know when Like That dropped, but since Like That dropped all the way till it's going to be about a year and a half of Kendrick being like the top dog in hip hop, kind of dethroning Drake from his position. And I just think that that's like something that's just so dope to me. So when he dropped he's on a historical run of tweets also. Yeah. I think that I've never seen anybody that has released like one tweet a month that has been like song, album, like diss record,
tour,
Super Bowl. Like, and even the promotion of it is so like, and this is kind of going back to that conversation around how present should you be on social media versus like kind of keeping some
mystery.
Yeah, some mystery about you. He doesn't post every day. His tickets is selling out.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why there's all these people that think like, man, if I miss the algorithm, if I don't post at noon every day, like I'm going to, it's just like this dude is like the biggest rapper in the world right now.
If I don't post this thirst trap, I'm not going to get any attention.
Yeah. Niggas is still going to find you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So with all that, like, I just think that's, that just needs to be acknowledged. And he's going on tour with SZA, so I don't want to diminish her role in, the popularity of this tour. But it's Kendrick though, Kendrick is that guy right now. So yeah, and then he doubled down and added more dates. I think he added another date in Toronto and I think another one in LA. So he's doing a football stadium in LA, I think 2 days in a row, which is like, it's crazy, man. So I just love the space that hip hop is in. It just lets us know like, how far we can take this content, creativity, to where, that space has generally been, held for rock stars, like the bands, the AC/DCs and things of that nature. They're the ones that do the stadium tours and have like 60,000 people in the stands singing their songs. But for a rapper to do that, I think that's fire. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's dope. But yeah, I think when it comes to the entertainment thing, you hit it right on the head. I personally have, there's been times where I've went to these concerts when I was up. There's been times where I went to these concerts where I was down. And the thing about it is your favorite artist is not touring every year. If you went to Kendrick's last tour, for Mr. Morale, I don't know when that was, but it was a couple years ago. So for this tour, which is going to start, the beginning of next year, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for this new tour, it's been a time, and if you're depending on where you're at in life, you only have that opportunity to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
For me, like my favorite artist was J. Cole, and I had never seen him in concert. So when the off season came around, I was like, dog, I'm not missing this. Like if I have to go broke, you know what I mean? If I have to,
you spend a lot of money on those fucking tickets, man.
Yeah, the tickets was pretty steep too.
Yeah,
so
it was up there.
And then you have to travel. It's a whole thing, you know. So, but yeah, I think when you see those opportunities, it's like they're only going to come so often. You know, even with like Super Bowls, you know, you see people like spending the arm and a leg, you know, just to get into the Super Bowl, and especially if your team goes, like it's highly likely, unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or a fan of the Chiefs or the Patriots, that your team is going to get there, and then they may lose, and then they may never get back there again.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, because it's like the Niners haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s. You know?
Man, 95.
So it's like that's highly likely. So I say all that to say, if you do have an opportunity, whether it's the nosebleeds, whether it's whether you gotta put your thing in a firm or whatever, or whatever that little thing that breaks up the payments, you got to do that just because it's Kendrick, and especially if you're like a day one Section 80 fan, and you get to experience your favorite artist like at the because a lot of times when you are like a diehard fan of an artist, like you are kind of going on a journey with these people, so you're in a space where you was playing the Section 80 off of Dat Piff or whatever, and then all the way you've been buying albums, and you've been buying the vinyls and all these different things, and buying the merch, and like for me, I was telling Eddie this earlier, I seen Kendrick Lamar before Good Kid, Mad City came out at UC Riverside. And he wasn't nearly, like, he was super popular then. Like, people knew who he was, but it was like that blog rap era. So it wasn't no stadium. It was like somewhere on campus where they had a stage set up and stuff like that. And people was rocking with it. Like, they knew the words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near like #1 record in the world, like Kendrick. So this is an entirely different experience. And I think that, not only that, like, obviously Kendrick, but just any other concert, any other football game, basketball game, whatever the case may be, cough up the money. And then also too, one thing I'll say before I let you go is that, the girl, she was like very emotional because she wasn't able to get the ticket. I think that there's a couple schools of thoughts, right? One, we do get a lot of in terms of like the artists that we appreciate. Like Kendrick dropped the Mr. Morale tour. He dropped it on Amazon, and then you have to pop out, that was on Amazon, and obviously we have the album. So we have to realize that every situation is not for everybody.
Absolutely.
When these artists, they grow, they're businesses
at
the end of the day. And I think he loves his fans, and he loves the people that support him, but the only thing that they owe us is just the content.
They're trying to create generational wealth.
Yeah,
for their
exactly.
Family.
So when it comes to ticket prices, and he's not the person reselling the tickets. That's just the nature of the game now.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to those ticket prices and things of that nature, we just got to realize that these are Kendrick is $1 million, probably $1 billion business just walking around at 5'6" or whatever.
Yeah.
Same with Drake and SZA and The Weeknd, and these are like walking like little Fortune 500 companies by themselves.
Absolutely.
So that just comes with the territory. So in order to really be able to be in the game, like we just got to make more money, and I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm speaking for myself as well. Like I'd be wanting to, go to 49er games or Laker games or like Warrior games and things like that. I know the tickets are steep, but I can complain about the price of the tickets, but everything is higher. Gas is more expensive. Food is more expensive. So the only thing you can do is you can sit around and complain about it, or you can be like, yo, how can I make an extra 500 here? How can I make an extra, $750 over here?
Experiences cost money.
Yes.
And, as a Dodger fan, I understand that more than anybody because they just released that the concessions are going to go up. So there was a beer for $35. There was a fucking slice of pizza for $28. Like it's crazy the pricing on this shit, man. And you know, not only the price of the ticket, but the concessions and the fucking parking. And look, at the end of the day, it's like this, bro. I'm here for the experience, and God has blessed me enough to where I make enough money to go out and do these things, right? And I ain't got it like that, but I got it good enough to where I could go out and watch games. If I wanted, my goal is to watch 20 games next year, right? So, yeah, that shit's gonna cost money, but at the same time, man, you just have to make more money. You have no choice. You know, it's just the name of the game, man. And I remember we went to a Donald Glover concert. That was in 2018. We went to that concert. It was in December.
December 2018, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the concessions were ridiculous. There was like 2 tacos for like $13 or some shit, or 2 for $15, or I forgot, was it 3 for $15?
I think it was like 3 for $15 or like 3 for $12 or something.
Yeah,
it was
like 3 for $15. It was 2 for $12 or 3 for $15. And what's crazy, bro, is we got literally some tacos, like some regular little small tacos, and they had no condiments on it. Like there was nothing special on it or nothing. And they like the tacos didn't even taste that good. And I remember Keith said, "Hey, you want to eat before we go there?" And I was like, "Nah, man, this should be something to eat around here somewhere." And I was like, "Let's go park." And we hadn't even thought about the parking. Like there was no option online to buy parking. We had to buy it when we pulled up. And I didn't have cash. I think Keith paid, and I like paid him later or something. But that shit was $50 for parking.
God dang.
Remember that shit? And then I remember we got inside the concert. We had the best fucking seats though.
Yeah.
And the concert, the tickets were reasonable. You remember what they were?
I think we spent like $300 on them.
Yeah.
300. Yeah. I don't. They might have been some resale tickets, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we got a good deal though.
Yeah, we got a good deal. Yeah, we got a good deal. But were they 300? They was? Oh shit. Well, I mean, it still was the best seats, bro.
Yeah, I think because if you looked at the surrounding tickets, they were more expensive.
Oh
so
yeah, they were crazy.
I don't know. Somebody might have, some might have came up and they was just trying to get rid of them.
Bro, we were left center. Donald Glover was right there. He gave a great fucking show too, bro. Yeah. I mean, that was the loudest experience I've ever had in my life, like by far.
Yeah.
It sounded like they put a fucking jet engine inside of there.
Yeah.
That forum was rocking, and Donald was all over the place. He was releasing new songs. It was, oh my God, totally worth the experience. And you could tell how much he loves his craft. That nigga was sweating everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that guy literally, you know what's crazy? He was moving around, dancing and singing the whole fucking time. And it was so much, in fact, that he looked physically smaller. Like he was sweating so bad, he looked like a little bloated. He went from looking a little bloated, and he was sweating so bad that it looked like the dude had like sweat the sodium out or some shit.
Yeah.
I was like, this shit is crazy.
He rehydrated like a boxer.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I think what he was doing up there, bro, he probably had to burn like 1,000 calories.
Yeah, I could believe that.
I could believe that he burned 1,000 calories up there because he ran all over the place. And then when he ran backstage, he only ran back there just to hydrate. And he hydrated and he ran right back out. And I'm like, this is a man that is passionate about his music and what he loves. And, and it's totally worth the fucking money.
It was so loud in there, you could feel the sound waves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh no, you could feel it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could feel it through your feet. Like it was coming up through your feet. He was like, God damn, this is different. And one dude got emotional. It was some dude that like he was smoking a joint, and like I think they played like what's that one? It wasn't oh my God. I didn't believe you or something.
Oh,
la 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 la.
Yeah, that's like your baby mama or something. I forgot.
Me and Your Mother.
Yeah.
I think it's called Me and Your Mother. He was singing that. I think, and the dude like started having tears in his eyes. I was like, what kind of weed is this dude smoking? My God, damn.
Smoking on that cry baby.
Yeah, that sounded like some shit Lil Wayne was saying. I'm smoking on that cry baby. Yeah. That's wild, man. But yeah, dude, I would encourage those out there, man, that life is too fucking serious, man. We're all going to die someday. And if your situation is not so serious to where you're going to lose your fucking house or whatever, those bills are going to be there the rest of your life, man. They're going to be there the rest of your life. You got a concert you want to go to, and you got a wife, and y'all just parents. Y'all ain't got no identity besides being a fucking parent all day or whatever the case. Man, get out and live and do something and have fun. I don't give a fuck if it costs $2,000 per ticket.
Yeah.
If you got the money, buy that shit.
I haven't. I've been to. We went to Clippers Suns playoff game. That was I forget what year that was. It was a couple years ago. And then I went to Lakers Warriors playoff game the next year. I've been to 49ers. I seen them play Green Bay. This was when Aaron Rodgers was still on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen them play the Cowboys last year. And then I've been to the Gambino concert. I've been to the J. Cole concert.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go to Gambino this year, but he canceled the tour, or he rescheduled it. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But
Andrew Schultz.
Schultz comedy show. We've been
great.
to the Comedy Store a couple of times.
Absolutely. All that shit costs money.
Yeah. And I said, and I'm not trying to brag. I say that to say, like, I haven't regretted any of that.
Nothing.
Because you have those memories with you forever.
Absolutely.
And those experiences, you can talk about it with your friends, families,
absolutely,
stuff like that. And it's a lot of money, but it's well worth it, especially if you're like a really big fan of somebody.
Absolutely.
Like, if the album, there are artists out there that don't really put on a great show, but I'm not a fan of those artists, so I can't really speak to that. But, if the album is fire, 9 times out of 10, the concert is going to be even more crazy. But you gotta, for me, I'm a fan of people that actually care about the art. Like, there are some rappers that just rap over they just got a DJ out there and then they just kind of rap over a song, and they don't have like the band or anything, and it's not the greatest show.
Donald Glover with that live band was fucking different.
Yeah, so any artist like Cole, Gambino, the ones that I've went to, they have the live band out there with the drums and the guitar player and the keys and the background singers and stuff. It's like it's an entirely different experience, and that's why you pay $500 or $700 or whatever that is.
Yeah, I really hope that Kendrick has the live band for like Dodger Blue.
Yeah, I mean, he gonna have a live band for sure. Like his music, his stuff is so musical already. Like that's a given. Yeah, that
shit. Oh my god, I can only imagine how dope that show's gonna be. And I'll be watching that show like on TikTok or something because I didn't pay for the tickets.
Yeah, it's gonna be steep.
But look, the moral of the story is this, man. Like, we already spoke on this, but what else I was gonna say? Look, man. Another thing too, like if you're dating a chick, bro. I think the good thing about going to events like this is like just having experiences with this person, right? Show her some stuff she hasn't seen, especially if she's cool and the head is fire. Take her out somewhere, man.
Right.
She deserves it, bro.
Yeah, I'll get you cool points. If your girl is a fan of whatever artist or sports team or whatever.
Buy them Beyonce tickets, bro. The hair got to be fire, though.
Yeah.
I'm messing around. I'm fucking around, man. I'm playing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
You want them tickets, you can't be giving no lousy head, man. Step your head game up.
Yeah, Beyonce tickets is crazy.
That's at least 40 minutes ahead. No, Beyonce tickets, man, they're insane. I don't know whose is worse, Taylor Swift or Beyonce tickets.
I think Taylor Swift is a little bigger artist
right
than
now.
Beyonce. But yeah. Both of those concerts were pretty crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious to see what this Kendrick concert looks like. So yeah. I don't know. I'm not closing the door on going yet, but as of right now, it's not looking like I'm going. So
I don't know how many LA shows does he have?
It's 2 right now. I think it's 2. Yeah, but I think there's one. I know there's one in the Bay too. So he's doing 2 in LA and then one in I think like San Francisco.
That's it for California, right there with those 2.
No, and then there's one in the Bay Area, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. Is that it for California?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you got like at least 2 to 4 opportunities. But the thing about this concert, though, bro, is like people are gonna travel for this shit.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is people are gonna want to travel to LA. Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's like listening to Outkast in the 90s. Like you could wait for like somebody like that to come to LA, but like when they have their show in like Atlanta, that's probably like where you want to see them.
Think so?
Yeah. Like Kendrick's from LA. I think there are people that live in Texas or they live wherever, right? Mm-hmm. And they're gonna like, even if they live in Texas, they might want to just come out to LA, get the full experience.
I don't think so. I think it's already expensive, so I don't imagine like,
hey man,
people traveling.
Hey man, Dodger fans went to New York to watch the fucking World Series, buddy.
But that's not the same. That's
yes, it is.
It's the World Series. They're only playing in LA. I mean, they're only playing in.
It's Kendrick Lamar. He's only having this tour once, Keith.
If the Dodgers are, if I'm from Houston and they're playing the Astros, I'm not going to not go to that game and then just travel to another one just because I want to see them in LA.
I hear you.
If it's Kendrick and he has a show, I'm sure he has a show in Texas or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he has one at the AT&T Stadium. Mm-hmm. So if I'm from Dallas or wherever surrounding cities, mm-hmm. I'm not going to that one and then driving all the way to LA just to experience it in LA. Because the show is going to be crack. Every show is going to be cracking.
You're right. You're mainly right. But there are people who have never been to LA.
Yeah.
And they literally want to make a double. They might be on vacation. They want to turn it. They've literally based their vacation around this.
I know that there are people that would travel. I just don't imagine anybody would travel. Like if the show, for example, like if the show is at the Mechanics Bank Arena, I don't know if anybody would be like, nah, I'm not going to the Bakersfield.
I hear you, but I'm only saying this because of the allure of Los Angeles. I think a lot of people, they hear about these references of Rosecrans and off the 10, and they really want to go out there. They want to go out to LA before the concert. They want to go down Slauson. They want to experience Los Angeles. So I'm not just saying just for Kendrick, but the allure. Like literally, there's like a mystique about Los Angeles.
Yeah,
they're mainly going to run into a lot of homeless. But
for anybody that's thinking that way, save your money because the show is going to be fire in Hawaii.
Anywhere,
North Korea, wherever is that, there's gonna be.
It ain't gonna be no show in North Korea, nigga. Might be some bombs, but it ain't gonna be no show.
The European extension is gonna be dope. Wherever you at, Australia, wherever. So,
yeah. If Kendrick got any shows in certain places that's a little odd, don't go. Yeah, he got a show in Ukraine. Do not go to that.
Russia.
Yeah, you got a Russia, Ukraine, any of that. Do not go to that show. Kendrick has set you up.
Yeah.
That's Putin, nigga. You thought it was Kendrick Lamar, huh?
Dang.
You thought it was Kendrick?
Yeah.
Like, oh no. I done bought Putin Lamar. God damn it. Oh man. All right.
Shout out Kendrick.
All right. Let's go ahead and switch gears. Switching gears. Oh, this is a bummer. The gunman at large for United Healthcare CEO fatally shot in brazen targeted attack. If you haven't been under a rock, you've seen that the CEO of United Healthcare got shot. He like got shot assassination style. It was wild. All right, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot and killed in Midtown Manhattan Wednesday morning in a brazen targeted attack as he walked towards the hotel hosting the company's annual investor conference. The New York police said the gunman, who was on the loose, but the assailant may have dropped some vital clues while fleeing. According to police officials who spoke on condition of anonymity because of the ongoing nature of the investigation, shortly before 7 a.m., a gunman masked in freezing temperatures was lying in wait before opening fire on Thompson outside of the Hilton Midtown, according to NYPD Commissioner. Many people have passed the suspect, but he appeared to wait for the intended target. She said in the news conference Wednesday, I want to be clear at this time, every indication is that this was premeditated, pre-planned and a targeted attack. Mm-hmm. Okay, and people keep changing the words on here. It says the words delay and depose were found on a live round casing, but somebody else said it says delay, deny, defend. But hold on. No. Here's the nuance. It says police are exploring whether the words found indicate the motive, pointing to a popular phrase in the insurance industry, delay, deny, defend. But on the rounds, it says deny, defend, depose. So the reference from that shell casing that they found referenced them to a book explaining like how they run their business. And United Healthcare had the highest rejection rate which was at almost 33%. So I don't know who this guy is or who the hitman is or whatever, but there's a possibility that this guy may have had a relative or somebody in his family, maybe a wife or somebody that had some type of a condition and they needed life-saving care, and it was possibly denied or delayed. And maybe, right, and mind you, this is anecdotal, I don't know, there's a possibility that could be his reality. And through research of this company and where they have their investor meetings and things of that nature, he says, all right, well, my wife's gone now, or my cousin or relative is gone, and I know who this motherfucker is, and I want to send a message. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. However, I'm saying a lot of these major companies or conglomerates, they're very void of empathy, right? They're void of empathy. And I think we've gotten a chance to see how society feels about our healthcare system. I think we've got a chance to see how much empathy we don't have towards these people that are sitting in some of the highest seats at these companies that can sit back and allow people to just die, right? They could just allow people to die. But then whenever like a citizen is, how do I put this? What's the idiom or the saying? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And this is the prime example of that, right? And I'm not going to be the guy saying it's okay for him to die, but I'm not going to be the guy that's trying to find the killer either. That's not my stance. I stand with the people when I say, I pray that you guys all live a healthy, long life, and I pray that you get the care that you need. If you have a family member or somebody going through some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The way I look at it, I think we have to be mindful that what happened is illegal, and we also don't know why it happened.
Exactly. That's why I said it's completely anecdotal from my point.
Yeah, I get that. So I just think the people that are, that they're, we just have to have, we need to, the evidence needs to come out, whatever his motive is. If he does get caught, maybe not, they continue as the police. I think the mayor of New York was basically saying they're being very, tight knit with the information. That I don't even think have they released his name yet?
There's been no name released. There's just been a still photo of this guy.
Yeah.
And the woman mentioned, so I guess a woman mentioned that he was handsome and she wanted to see his face.
Yeah.
And he pulled it out and smiled. Right?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that they are intentionally only releasing certain information because the mayor was saying that they believe that would jeopardize a little bit of, the case a little bit. So I think that, we just have to wait till the information comes out. But what I will say, if that is the case, because when it happened, there was a young boy, I think he was in high school, and I believe he was a athlete. I think he was on the wrestling team, and he had an injury to his nose, and it required surgery to clear up his sinuses so that he could breathe better. And I guess he got denied. He wasn't able to get the care or the surgery that he needed. And they were asking him, and this is post the killing of the United States, or the United Healthcare CEO. And you can tell he had no empathy for the life of the person that lost his life. And he was just kind of yo, this is kind of what happens. And it's unfortunate. Yeah. And it's for those people, I get it, especially, there's people that lost their life because they wasn't able to get the proper care. They weren't able to get the proper medicine that they needed in order to, just to live. And they had this United Healthcare, and they essentially lost their life because of the lack of attention, care, whatever, by the insurance company. So for those people, I can kind of understand it. But it sucks because we don't actually know how involved the CEO is in this sort of thing, And this is it's weird to say, this is it's like a movie, a strange,
Absolutely.
A strange hitman movie where, a movie like In Time or whatever, where it's, it's about social issues or economics, where, there's this, this high class of people, these wealthy millionaires.
Right.
And then there's this poor class that are catching the brunt of their decisions.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's just so crazy. Like like this happened. I would say this is my speculation about the whole thing. I think that what happened is, like, if we are, just kind of speculating, I think that after, you know, the conversation started to bubble about more and more people, getting denied, actual health care. I think that somebody that is very powerful, I think he was hired. I think that he, the way that he moved, like some people were saying, I think that having a silencer on the gun, kind of knowing his whereabouts.
When the gun jammed, how much he was able to recover and
yeah, all those things. I think that would say, like, even the way he was moving, like having his mask on for the most part, the way he escaped on the bike, and he got out of there clean, and the fact that he's still like not caught. I think that's a professional. And if you ever watch, like, I don't know if Soft White Underbelly has them, but you can scroll through YouTube and you can actually find interviews with people that are hitmen. Yeah, and they'll kind of talk about how they got into the jobs and certain things like that. So it's for the right price you can get somebody knocked off.
Yeah, there was a hitman that was on Soft White Underbelly, and he mentioned how usually whoever who authorized the hit, right? That usually the man was always he was always I won't say submitted, but he was always tricked by a woman. He would find a woman who would get him to a hotel, and the guy always fell for it. Like the person that was getting a hit on them would always fall for the woman. The woman would get them to the hotel, and the hitman said, "When I go in there, I come in there and shoot him, and I shoot her too."
God dang.
So they wouldn't even let her walk because they wouldn't want no witnesses. So they would lie to her to get her to get the guy in there. And then once the dude about to get naked, he come in there, blow his head off and blow her head off and walk off and then get paid.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
There was a couple things that and this is just me looking at the news and people talk about it. There was a couple things. I think this guy was like a law enforcement officer or something like that. But he was saying that there was a couple things that there was a couple things where this guy kind of screwed up. One, showing his face.
Yeah.
And that's if this guy gets caught, and this is all entertainment at this point. Mm-hmm. If this guy gets caught, we can very well say that, similarly to what you were saying, a woman took him off of his square.
Yeah.
Because that girl flirting with him at the counter, the nigga couldn't resist.
Yeah.
He couldn't resist pulling his mask down, and that's the only glimpse. Because I feel like if we didn't see that picture, then we wouldn't see the other one in the taxi and some other things. Mm-hmm. We would see like the figure of him, but we wouldn't really know what he looks like.
A woman is a man's kryptonite.
Yes,
and
exactly.
I think that in this case, however, here's where it changes. I wonder if this guy, if he's really that pristine when it comes to being on point, if any of his IDs or anything that he normally does, his face looked freshly shaven, which tells me, I wonder if his regular alias is, or the way he is bearded normally. Mm. If he's primarily a guy that has a beard is almost a disguise in a way. Because if you've ever seen somebody that always has a beard and it's a thick beard, and they finally shave it off, it doesn't even look like the same fucking person. Mm-hmm. So there's a possibility that this guy walks around in society with a huge fucking beard through most of his life. Everyone who knows this guy probably knows him with a beard. His face looked freshly shaven. So that's the only thing. Not to say that he probably still won't get found, but his face just looks so generic. Mm-hmm. If you look at his face, it's not distinctible. It's like it's not a very distinct face. He doesn't have like a huge jawline. He doesn't have a massive nose. He doesn't have like freckles on his face. His skin looks like it's clear. So like, how are you going to ID this guy?
I don't think it would be that hard. I think I'm sure there's somebody that knows him. Like even if like I was talking to one of my guys.
Probably like a hater or something.
No, not that.
He took my girlfriend in high school. I'm telling.
Yeah. So one of my guys, he grew up like on the east side of Bakersfield, and he would say that there was times. What the heck?
I think it's your phone.
Static. He would say that there was times where there would be somebody wanted on the news, like they'll show a video of somebody shooting somebody or whatever, and he'd be like, I know who that is. Mm-hmm. But they still, I mean, he not going to snitch on them or whatever, but, and that's his own, whatever he does. But I say that to say, ain't no way nobody in the world knows who that is. I think that there are people from who he could probably be from freaking, Nebraska or something like that. I'm sure that there are people that are out there that's like, oh, that's John from such and such. Or, like you said, I went to school with him, or he was always kind of interesting in school. Like, he was always a little bit weird or a little bit off in school. Or he was the star quarterback on the football team or whatever. So, I think that somebody knows who that is, because they have like Face ID technology now, like to where if you get a good enough picture of somebody, but it only works for the internet. Like, so if you post a picture, or if you have a couple pictures of somebody, it'll like scour the internet for like pictures of said person, and it'll pop up like social media and things of that nature. But for him, I would imagine if he moves like how I think he would move, he probably has no social media presence. He probably carries cash. He probably got one of the Kendrick Lamar light phones. He don't even be on the internet at all. So yeah. It's so crazy, man.
Yeah, this is different. This guy is a professional.
What is there a world? And this is what I think people are not really thinking about, because I was talking to one of my guys, and for me, I always look at these. I look at every situation like, oh, that would be a dope movie concept, or what would a short film look like if you kind of took this and put it together. So I was talking to one of my guys, and it was like Lionel Messi or some one of those soccer players, but they were selling these like masks. So you put this mask on, and you could tell, like, if you looked at it long enough, you could kind of tell it's like, oh, this is just like a little mask over somebody's face. But from like, if you put one on and you put like a hood on and you wasn't really paying attention, you'd be like, oh, dang, that's Lionel Messi walking down the street. Oh, that's Kanye West.
Those masks that they have on.
Yeah. So I sent it to one of my guys, and I was like, yo, that's a dope, like, this like is like a crazy premise to like a movie. Like, what if like somebody played as a celebrity, because they look really realistic when you actually put them on. I was thinking about that, and then this came out. I was like, oh, what if there was like somebody trying to blackmail somebody by putting on the Kanye West mask, and they went around and like did some sort of robbery, shooting, murder, whatever. But I say that all to say that, what if that's not even his real face?
Yeah.
What if he got like some Hollywood person to, how they be doing, like, even like the Penguin, with
they had a whole movie, Face Off, where they did that shit.
Face Off. And
Nicolas Cage.
But there's many movies like I forget the guy's name, the Irish actor. He plays Penguin, but he doesn't look anything like that, or like, So I just say that maybe he showed his face, but maybe he had like some sort of like fake nose, or like the eyebrows were a little bit manipulated, or whatever the case may be. So
who knows? All I know is this, man. Whoever did this was a professional, obviously. They had very good gun skills. This could be an ex-military guy. It could be a guy that is, who could potentially had a family member or somebody he loved that is no longer around due to the healthcare system. Or this could be an inside job, maybe from somebody within the organization. Who knows? Now, I will say this. The CEO, Brian Thompson, you said, look, I don't know how involved he was in this or that, blah, blah, blah. I hear you. So we don't know how involved he is in all of these policies. And the people that are really causing the shitstorm are faceless. The people that are literally running these companies are faceless. You don't know who the fuck they really are. Okay? The guy that's probably causing all this mayhem and people are dying and he does not care, he's probably on a yacht out in the middle of Europe somewhere, and you don't even know who he is. He's just a rich guy with no identity. Mm-hmm. But the CEO is the face. See, they're going to blow his head off. They already blew it. He figures, look, you guys, okay, you killed our CEO. We'll just hire a new guy. That guy's job was literally posted within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. This gives you an idea of how much the healthcare system is like. Literally, people talk bad about the cartel, right? They talk about the cartels bringing drugs and they're doing this and that. See, the cartel deals in drugs, but these motherfuckers bargain your health. Mm-hmm. They literally will make you sick and sell you the drugs to keep you that way. Mm-hmm. Like, we live in a society where we're selling food that will make you sick and then we give you the medicine.
Yeah.
The healthcare system treats you like Netflix. You are a fucking subscription.
Yeah.
You are a subscription service. Mm-hmm. That's why as we get older too, it's important to just be cognizant of what you're eating and things of that nature, because like they literally don't mind you if you're a patient. That means you're a number. Mm-hmm. All of illness is a business. Mm-hmm. Right? So these people don't care. They've bargained your health. They're the worst fucking people. So when you say you don't know how involved Brian Thompson is, I don't need to know how involved he is. You have to be morally bankrupt to be at the top of a company that kills people. I don't give a fuck about how involved he is. You are the face of a morally bankrupt company, and you are at the top while somebody's grandma's fucking dead because they couldn't get insulin. That is why when I'm not advocating for somebody to get shot, but I'm not looking for the fucking killer. Because this is like the highest, this is like the definition of keeping the same energy. It is the same. Oh, well, nobody was looking. I know who the killer is who killed my grandma, right? I know it was probably that CEO. It was probably, the people at the top that were sending down messages to not approve this many people. It was literally, there was a plan that allowed them to deny almost 33% of people. That literally is the highest number among all healthcare providers. So like when people are doing this, bro, like I simply cannot have empathy for the people that implement these things. I could have empathy for that man's family because I can only imagine, losing your father or your husband or that whatnot. But I mean, I wonder if they ever look at the amount of people who have passed on due to not getting the care that they needed.
Yeah. I get that. I think that's a little dark for my taste. So I don't have that stance.
On dark on whose side? The public?
No, I'm saying like for the idea that like you don't have to, or you don't necessarily have to have empathy for the CEO because there are people that passed away under his watch.
Can we be honest here? You don't have to.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just telling you my perspective on it. But yeah. what I think that what I will say is that I get the gripe from the people that are that have this healthcare and it's not necessarily working for them. Some people have passed away. Some people can't get the surgeries that they need. I think that part of it is like kind of going back to the conversation about
money, having finances.
Yeah, going back to the conversation about purchasing the tickets and stuff like that is that the best way to protect yourself and your health and your family is to try to get and it sucks to say that. I'm not saying it like talking down to people. I'm just talking about it from a perspective is like when you sign up for that government healthcare, the Obamacare or whatever, those are like the bare minimum, healthcare services. So there's going to be a lot of times where they may not pay for your crown, or they may not pay for, that tooth you need to be pulled, or, you may need that surgery, but they may deny you, or you may need that medicine. And that's just like the nature of those things. So I just think like, of course they should help you, but in the situations where they don't, i.e., some of these people dying from, the medicine that they can't actually qualify for, I think that is like we gotta figure it out, because I mean we can blame the government, we can be mad at the government
Absolutely.
for not protecting us and not treating us like, other countries where they have like free healthcare and such and things like that. But I think like we don't deserve to die because of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think that, it's important to try to find a way to like,
I just think that when I say to not be politically correct, I don't think you're a bad person if you don't have empathy for him. If you don't have empathy for them, you don't have to. You genuinely do not. Mm-hmm. And it does not make you a bad person. I think that when you're not void of empathy and you feel bad for people, that's a great thing. And it's important to always have that. But at the same time, if you say, look, I love people, but I don't necessarily feel sorry for that person. Mm-hmm. I don't hate them. I have no malicious intent or malice towards them. It's hard for me to feel sorry for someone who sat at the top of a company that could just deny somebody. Look, our healthcare system is so wild that I got to get the company right who did it. They wanted to put a limit on, what do you call that when they put you under?
Oh, you talking about anesthesia?
They wanted to put a limit on anesthesia during surgery, meaning that you can wake up in the middle of a fucking surgery while they're cutting you open because they want to reduce the amount of anesthesia to save money. And they push back on it. They said, fuck no, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. And also what that means, if you're putting a limit, right? And this is just a healthcare provider trying to tell a fucking surgeon how they should do it, which is disgusting. It's so disgusting that they're bargaining our health. This is why I have a problem with these people. They don't give a fuck about us, so why the fuck should we care about them? That's just keeping the same motherfucking energy. You want me to wake up in the middle of a surgery with my body cut the fuck open because you want to save money? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That is insane, man. And then on top of that, you're trying to rush life-saving surgery? Like, in a way, you're trying to rush the surgeons. You don't want to do a rush job on this. See, the biggest issue with this is you're dealing with human lives. This is not McDonald's. You can't go burn a batch of fries and just make another batch, right? This is a human life. Mm-hmm. You need to take time and care when you're doing these types of things. And they literally are just they're literally trying to expedite the process like it's McDonald's. Mm-hmm. If the healthcare system could do it, they would have a drive-through surgery. They would say, bend over. All right, we're going to cut your butt. All right, we'll stitch it up. All right, bye. Have a good day. Yeah. If that system worked best for them, they would fucking do it.
Yeah.
And it's wild that we've made it to this point. And I just listened to a bunch of stories of people who talked about a loved one that passed away. Like a man that lost his wife. And then another one was a dude that lost his mom because she was a diabetic. And they were sending her items, and then they decided to stop sending them to her. And then finally, when she passed, a package delivered literally like a day and a half later with all of her supplies that she needed. And one of the reasons was that she was deceased. Mm-hmm. Like it's so wild and weird how it works. Like the reason why they could send it is because she was gone. I couldn't wrap my mind around or comprehend why the fuck that's even a thing. Mm-hmm. I guess it's probably for liability purposes. Probably because, in case you try to sue, they could say, hey, we sent the products. A lot of these things that these companies do, these massive companies or conglomerates, it's to avoid lawsuits. Like they're going to do fucked up shit, but they also don't want to be sued. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh my God. Like, look here, I could talk Tom Blue in the face about this, but I just, my deepest thoughts and sympathies go out to the people and the families. You got families that got, they got grandma in their house, and has bad health, and like people are on a fixed income. They can't afford all those medicines and surgeries and things of that nature. It goes back to you saying, yes, people need to make more money. We have no choice. And it's not to frown on anybody like we're rich, because me and Keith definitely are not.
Yeah.
However, it is true that you do have to make more money in today's society because things cost too goddamn much.
That's your life, Yeah. At the end of the day, because the only other option is like to rely on a, insurance company that's denying 33%.
That's
of
fucking
people,
wild. Exactly.
The services. So
exactly.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. I just think it's unfortunate all the way around.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just want to let the record show that I'm not trying to be, I'm not saying Keith is, this is his stance. I just want the record to show that I'm not being politically correct. I'm not going to chastise anybody that does not have empathy for a person that's at the top of a company that denied 33 fucking people. That's not, I'm not asking you to give a fuck. I'm certainly not. Now, maybe if it was somebody else that was like a humanitarian or a person that gave back to their community, I would feel absolutely horrible for that person. Right. And there's some people that literally spend a lot of their lives advocating for people and, getting the homeless food and things of that nature. And somebody comes and shoots them or robs them. That is a horrible situation. Right. Horrible. I think that another thing too, I think that the guy, the CEO, his wife mentioned that he had received some threats, but it was nothing that was, considered too serious.
Yeah.
I think it's always serious when you're a CEO getting threatened. You could normalize it all you want, but some people really about that action.
Yeah.
I think
somebody was.
I think right now it's going to be a lot of CEOs all over the place that are going to be considering getting security. And I don't know if United Healthcare is going to provide security for them or not. I don't know.
Just the healthcare is tricky because, we're talking about people's lives.
Yes.
We're talking about people's, different types of surgery. Like we mentioned, the kid that needed a nose surgery. Like it's really affecting his life. And, so I believe that. I don't think the CEO of like Kellogg or something has the same type of worries because you're not necessarily dealing with people's lives like healthcare.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think either way, it's I just think it's important. Like you said, if he was getting those death threats, I would imagine like hopefully that would have inspired him to kind of get the company right. But
we need after the pod, we need to put an option for people who have had. Are there any healthcare workers that listen to this podcast? We need to hear your vantage point on this. And if you're not a healthcare worker, we just need people with regular experiences. What's your experience dealing with the healthcare system? And how do you feel about this specific thing? I think we need to put some type of poll or just allow people to vent in on Spotify. So this will be found on Spotify. It's just like a little question. You can put that on the, yeah. But yeah, I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Whether you have a mom or yourself or your son or daughter or a family member, or if you work in healthcare, I think that would be even better. And if you don't work in healthcare, if you have a cousin or an uncle or brother or sister that works in healthcare, send this podcast to them and have them respond and see how they feel. Because there were people on TikTok that work in healthcare that had a mask on to cover their identity, and they were fucking going off. They were like, we're tired of these motherfuckers preventing us from giving people care. There was one dude that said, I was about to die, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. And then what do you call those? What do you call those things? Those pens? Is it not a diabetic pen? What is it? Is it insulin that they gave him? I can't remember what it was. But they were trying to diagnose him or whatever, and they had some of those pens sitting around, and they didn't know it was wrong, and they were telling him, hey, come back in this many days. And the nurse said, hey, take this. Don't tell anybody that I gave you this. And he ended up using them, and it saved his life. Had he waited, he would have fucking died.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there are nurses out here that are saving lives against the law. Like, first of all, I want to, before this pod ends too, I want to make sure we send a huge shout out to the nurses out there. Because a lot of you guys are doing things and saving lives and risking your license to save lives because the healthcare system has put you in a very weird predicament. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the lives you save and the amount of people that you tend to care for. Nurses get a bad rap for infidelity and shit.
What?
We know y'all some freaks, but I appreciate y'all saving lives. You saving lives, but not marriages. It's a nurse right now. Oh, no problem. Thank you.
That's crazy.
It's a nurse. Listen to this right now. Just got through getting back shots.
Back shots and insulin shots.
Oh man, that Keith sure is funny. Oh man,
that's crazy.
And then the dude hitting it, hating. He's like, man, why you listen to that podcast? Listen to that podcast.
Them niggas ain't funny.
They ain't funny, man. They ain't funny. Pump starts speeding up.
That's crazy.
Oh man, I don't know when that started, man.
What?
When did we start making those clapping fake sex noises?
Oh, I don't know.
That's like a staple of this. Anybody that's new to this podcast, there's a lot of satire. Yes, we get serious. Sometimes we get very deep on here, but other times it is just straight foolishness. Mm-hmm. Right? I need you guys to take your time to weed between the lines. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's probably some first-time listeners that was like, they made sense instead they started calling us hoes. It's like, I'm not calling registered nurses hoes. It's just a play on words, okay? Mm-hmm. And some of y'all really is out here saving lives, right? You saving lives and draining balls. Like, oh, she was the best nurse ever. What did she do to you, man? Oh, she just was real good to me, man. She's real good, real good.
My balls was filled up. She just drained it. I had blue balls. She got rid of it, man.
Oh, man. He's like, I showed up to the hospital and my hope was empty. Now my balls is empty. Oh, man.
Crazy.
That'd be crazy if that was a real diagnosis. You show up to the hospital and be like, I got blue balls, doc. What do I do?
Somebody just back there. Glock, 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 glock. I'm good now. Thank you. Send me an invoice.
That's a $12,000 blowjob? God damn. Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. That's crazy, man. All right, let's go ahead and move on. And it's funny, we're moving on to a comedian. All right, switching gears. Andrew Schultz. Now, recently, comedian Andrew Schultz just responded to Kendrick. Now, if you guys remember to the recent episode that we had, Kendrick had a line that said, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman, that's law. And we responded to that, and I felt back then that it was Andrew Schultz. And now you see that Andrew responded. See, one thing you're going to learn about this podcast is me and Keith are very smart people. Okay? We tend to read between the lines very fast. And when I heard that line, I said, that's got to be talking to Andrew. And yeah. I even found the podcast that was referencing, which was Shits and Gigs. Those two guys, I think they're from the UK. And there was a whole, debacle going on about him having that joke. It was like some little satire mentioning black women. And Kendrick brought that up. And Andrew, to me personally, I feel like the joke, in my personal opinion, wasn't funny enough to double down on it. I don't think Andrew's a racist or anything like that, but at the same time, he alluded to. Do you have the clip?
Go ahead, I'll find it.
You'll find it. Okay, yeah. Basically, on the Flagrant podcast, he alluded to like, look, man, like I'm not a tough guy. Kendrick's crew will whoop my ass. Whatever the case. But if it's just me and Kendrick, I would kiss him. I would make love to him or whatever. And he says whether it's consensual or non-consensual, I would make love to him or whatever. And people was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. But Andrew is a guy who has always said very edgy, wild shit, right? And here's the deal. I think me and Keith have been listening to Andrew Schultz for like 7 years. Like before we even had a podcast, we both were privy to who Andrew Schultz was. Mm-hmm. This is his brand of comedy. And people say, it doesn't matter if it's comedy, man. And I think that with those people, Andrew does not have the right to tell them to not be offended, right? And I think that those people that are quick to judge Andrew aren't looking at the nuances of Andrew. They're just getting to know him, right? So when you just see somebody and they say something wild about your favorite rapper, you're like, this guy is a racist, or this guy is alluding to gay acts with Kendrick Lamar, right? And I think what happens is snap judgment happens. And it can cause problems. And I just don't think the joke was funny enough for Andrew to double down on it. In addition to, for Andrew to be selling out Madison Square Garden multiple times, this whole shit was beneath him. I think he could have just avoided what was said and moved the fuck on, right? However, I think there's hypocrisy. But what I do love about Kendrick is he doesn't have an issue being a hypocrite. He basically admits that he's been a hypocrite multiple times. I think that when you are using satire in your rap about Drake being a pedophile, calling him a 69 god, That is also very, very wild to say that, right? Whether you believe it or not, you turned it into satire, calling him a 69 guy and laughing about it. So hey man, Kendrick went on his platform, he went on his, and it is what it is. As of now, that is what it is. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't change the fact that black women felt offended, and that's on Andrew. He could continue to tell the joke. I just think one of the things that nobody's talking about is I feel like anybody that's being made fun of, whether it's Indian, black people, whatever, I think they want to feel like they're a part of the joke and not the joke. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you feel like you're a part of the joke, you're laughing at it. Because recently Andrew and Charlamagne were talking, and Charlamagne was like, yo, I want to go to the motherfucking beach. You know, you imagine being under the fish. Like, I wonder what the fish is thinking when you under the water. And Andrew was like, they're like, yo, they swimming now? Like, basically, like, black people could swim? And everybody was busting up laughing. But this is what Andrew has done. Like, he's been doing this. Like, once again, I am not trying to absolve him of anything because no one is above reproach. I just think that people that don't know who Andrew is, though, a lot of those people are the ones that are popping up.
Yeah.
Like, those are the ones that are saying it. Even Ice Cube's son popped up on Twitter. It was like, this weird ass nigga, right? He said, why you gonna say some shit like that? And then Andrew responded to him and said, No Vaseline by Ice Cube, look it up. Right? Basically referring, like, his dad was alluding to rape. Right? And no Vaseline. So I think that Andrew was alluding to the hypocrisy that exists amongst a lot of like hip hop artists and people like that. I get it. I just don't think the joke was good enough for Andrew to be working this hard to defend it. I think you could have just let it go, bro. That's my thing. Let it go. But yeah.
Let me see. I played a clip.
You don't got TikTok.
What is the black girlfriend effect? This
Oh, you don't know about that?
Glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend. All of a sudden, he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Glows up, bro.
I like that.
I like that.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they got to shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends,
they grow a beard because there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of. That's hilarious. I think the black girlfriend effect. It might be a protective instinct, bro.
You think?
Protective.
Yeah. Do you guys have you ever had black girlfriends?
Yeah.
Have you ever had white girls?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. What's your favorite?
We love them all.
Yeah.
Oh really?
We love them all.
Yeah.
That means white.
Yo, who gets
That means what?
That's the first. That's the episode with Shits and Gigs with them having a conversation. And the other person talking was Akash, who is Indian, who's regular on that podcast, cracking the joke. But the latest one is what we need to hear.
Oh yeah, I was just giving him some context.
That was the first one with Shits and Gigs, and the guys that were on Shits and Gigs came back and they apologized and whatnot, and they said we just felt like we felt kind of like trapped in that moment. Like they came up with a bullshit excuse, but one of them said that was hilarious, and I think what it is you got to understand when you're going on a podcast with people who joke like that, they are the opposite of political correctness. And I think that's the good thing about comedy is we are so politically correct in society. And when you go to a comedy show, it's the complete opposite of political correctness. And they're saying some fucked up shit and we're laughing at it, right? But I think it's also true that we don't get to have selective morality about what we laugh about because we could be laughing at midgets, right? We laugh short people, little people, they're hilarious. Oh my God. We can start laughing at fat people. We can start laughing at Asian people, but the moment they talk about a black guy or a black woman, now people mad. Or the fact that when they start talking about a gay person, now people mad. And it's like, you can't really protect anybody from jokes. If you exist in society, somebody has the ability to crack a joke on you, but you don't have the right to tell people whether they should be offended or not. That's where I am. I'm not defending Andrew Schultz, but I cannot protect or defend anyone else because that's just how comedy works. You know what I'm saying? We went to Andrew's show. They had some jokes was flying, bro. It was some wild. He said some wild shit during that time. Yeah, you can't fight it.
I'm waiting on you to stop talking.
Oh, nigga, shit. You didn't say nothing. I'm trying to save you time.
No,
buy
I
you
got
time to find a clip.
I got it.
You want to squabble up with Kenny?
That fuck him up.
Like, first of all, Kendrick's people and the gang affiliate, everybody, his security, they will kill me. They will destroy me. But just Kendrick, I would make love to him, and there's nothing he could do about it. Just Kendrick Lamar, I would make love to him, and the only thing that he could do is decide if it's consensual or not.
Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired?
That's the gist of it.
That's the gist of it. It wasn't much there. I just think that with Andrew, if this was 6-7 years ago, it would make sense to for him to lean into this moment that badly. But I think for a guy that sold out Madison Square Garden multiple times and has massive success as a comedian, I think he got a little bit thirsty this time. I feel like this is what thirst looks like as a comedian. When you're leaning into something so badly when it's not even that. This moment's gonna pass. It's gonna go and pass. But I think Andrew could also fuck this up too, because if you're saying, now this is Kendrick we're talking about. Kendrick is on a hot streak, and he's like the biggest rap artist in the fucking world right now. If this was like, I don't know, if this was G-Eazy or something, nobody would give a fuck. But when you say this about Kendrick, here's where the issues come. There's probably some director or somebody, because Andrew also is an actor. So there's somebody with this massive fucking role where it's going to pay a ton of money. And then he turns on your podcast clip and he hears you saying you want to make love to Kendrick Lamar. And you just lost an opportunity, because that's the thing. Like you even like even Drake right now is in a fucking tailspin because he's being called a pedophile by Kendrick. What do you think it's going to look like as a white comedian saying you want to make love to a black rapper? Like, can you imagine what that looks like? That has to look fucking bad. And there's going to be a guy like, I really want to work with Andrew, but I don't want people labeling me a racist. Even though we've been listening to Andrew, we know he's not. It doesn't matter what I think. When people have huge businesses and directors and Universal and all these people, when they put a check behind you, they need all your paperwork and your whole past to line up. And when there's something that doesn't quite line up, they don't want to get next to you. I'm sure that Drake might have had people looking at him weird when you got one of the other biggest rappers in the world calling you a pedophile. I think that I already mentioned on the podcast, that's probably one of the reasons why this petition is going out. Because you at least have to defend your name if you want to be in a partnership with Disney. Like, you can't just be having motherfuckers calling you a pedophile and you just like still doing business, because that they at least want you to defend your fucking name. Because they're not privy to this rap shit. They're not like, I know in rap, like, you don't want to do a lawsuit because you're a rapper. They don't give a fuck about that. They're a business.
Yeah.
I can't be doing business with a motherfucker being called a pedophile. So I need you to file this petition if you want this money. We still want to work with you, Drake. We don't believe you're a pedophile. However, you can't just sit there, because then you're going to really start looking like one.
Yeah. I think for me, like, I don't have to defend Andrew Schultz. Like, no. And I don't even think that it's necessary, because he doesn't even want to be defended. No. I also think that it's like it's also like the cliche, like, my best friend is black kind of thing. Like, and I don't think, because I think you cannot be racist and say something disrespectful or discriminatory. Absolutely. So that's why I'm like, I don't really need to defend Andrew Schultz. I'm a fan of his. I think that like we talked about earlier, we went to his show in LA at the Orpheum, and I listen to the podcast all the time. I don't listen to Flagrant. I listen to Brilliant Idiots. Yeah. All the time. And I just think that sometimes, like, you just say something that's just dumb. Like, I'm not trying to like say it in a way where like every there's a certain group of people that's off limits. Like, black women are off limits. I just think that we just shoot. Right, you say things, you try to make jokes out of certain things, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I just think that you have to, when you're a person that does like edgy comedy, like, you have to be able to live with the consequences of of what that looks like. And that this is kind of what it looks like. I also think that when you're having a conversation about people's emotions, that you can't have a conversation about logic. So if I'm a black woman and I'm like, yo, Andrew Schultz, like what you said was disrespectful. You know, you're trying to paint black women as being like aggressive and mean and all these things. And that's what I have to deal with when I walk into work. Like, you know, this is my life. Like I can't get a job here, or, you know, people are complaining about me when Becky is mad and I get mad at work, it's looked at entirely different. Like that's the world that they live in, right? So if you're living in that world and you think that what Andrew Schultz said is offensive and you think that it's racist, then you have every right to feel that way. But for Andrew Schultz, if you're trying to logic a conversation about somebody's experience, like you're just talking in circles.
Yeah,
because this is a black woman that's talking about her real life, or black women that are talking about their real life experience, and you're trying to combat that by saying that hip hop is not, you know, supported black women, and they call them the B word and hoes and all this different. It's like that. It's like a, what do you call it? Like a logical fallacy. Like that, those things are not connected. The real conversation is that as black women via the internet, they heard this and they were offended, and they also know that you, Andrew Schultz, are surrounded by people like Charlemagne the God that are, you know, pillars in the black community, and they just didn't like the joke, and that's like the end of the thing. So I just think that for Andrew Schultz, I think that he just tried to take advantage of some attention.
Yeah,
and it just looked like it started to become a little corny. And
that's
I think,
what I'm saying.
And I think above all, like it got less and less funny as it went on.
Absolutely.
You know, so
absolutely.
that's my thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Flagrant, I'm not the biggest fan of that podcast. Like I said, I listen to Brilliant Idiots. And the thing with Flagrant, they treat that podcast like an open mic. If you're familiar with open micers for comedians, they're just shooting the shit. And I think what it is the joke was based in stereotypes. And I think it's not bad to be stereotypical when you can make something funny. Like I said, when somebody feels like they're the joke and they're not a part of the joke, they got the right to be offended. Mm-hmm. They have the right to be offended. But I'm not going to take the stance, and Andrew should never, ever crack a joke about black women. They should never talk about black women. Because the thing about it is, if somebody is, let's say, for example, you go to a show and everybody's laughing at Asian people. Like they cracking hella Asian jokes, like talking about rice and noodles and all kinds of shit. Everybody's fucking dying. You think Asians ain't offended? Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing about comedy, bro. I don't expect people to understand the nuances of comedy at all. But me and Keith both.
But that's the thing. Like it's not a comedy conversation. Like because these are things like as people that tell jokes, you can't hide behind like I'm just being funny. Like if somebody is offended at something, then that's just what it is. You know, if we say like we have the clip about Rich Boy and, you know, people are like, yo, y'all stupid, y'all lame. Why are y'all cracking jokes about his drug habit or whatever the case may be? Yeah. But we're not like going out there and defending like, man, anybody could get these jokes.
No.
It's like if you feel offended by that, then that is what it is. Like we can have a conversation about it and I can tell you that I was just joking. Yeah. But I'm not going to make it so that what I said is okay because it's funny. Like you just have to live with whatever, you know, comes with the territory.
Absolutely. So, I think he's doubling down on something. Like I said, the joke wasn't that funny. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, like the Rich Boy situation that we have with all those thousands of fucking comments of hate towards us, we could take the stance that Andrew Schultz took and say, hey, Rich Boy on that same song said, Rich Boy selling crack. You mean the same crack that destroyed the black community in the 80s? That's the same guy you're defending? Mm-hmm. Like, I could take that stance, but it's not worth the energy.
It's not.
It's not worth the energy. That's my thing.
Better to I think Andrew Schultz would have been better served to just ignore it.
Yeah, I think
and I think what happens, too, is Andrew Schultz is a person that people already feel like is very conservative. One, you just publicly came out and said that you voted for Donald Trump. And when you're coupling all these things together, it doesn't really matter what you say when you're like, oh, I'm not racist, or I make jokes about everybody. It's like when people start to connect these dots, like, oh, he used to be nicknamed Alt-Right Andy for years and years and years, and now he's sat down with Donald Trump, and now he's making fun of black women. Certain things, and I'm not saying that he's racist, I'm just saying certain things start to align from the outside looking in.
Absolutely.
If you're not listening to his podcast every week and you know, like, he, you know, sometimes compliments Taylor, and, you know, he has great conversations about like community and stuff on the podcast. But I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, if you only see a few clips here and there, and then on top of the fact that you sat down with Donald Trump and you were like gawking over him for, you know, an hour podcast, you know, I can understand how like somebody can see it, you know, from that vantage point.
Yeah,
but I just think that I think that you don't do yourself any good when there are people that don't really know who you are, a part of the black community, that are like very intelligent, and they're connecting all of your antics, behavior with like, you know, 1700s, you know, historical racist things. Like, and I'm not saying that stuff is valid. I'm just saying, like, you're not doing yourself any service by, you know, saying that you're going to rape a black man, saying that you're disrespecting white women, voting for Donald. It's just like all these things start to align in a way where it's like you are alienating people that could potentially like appreciate, you know, what you do. But you're kind of like you said, doubling down.
Absolutely. That's why I mentioned when he said that about Kendrick, he's not just talking about a rapper. He's talking about the biggest fucking rapper on the planet. And that could destroy any opportunities that he has in the future. Just based off that. Not to mention, I had a thought in my head. I just it slipped my mind. But in regards to this though, bro, it's exhausting. I think two things are true. He didn't do himself any favors, but we also have an issue in society with snap judgment. We don't even want to do our due diligence. We see something that offends us and we just say, oh, that person's this, they're that, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're that. We don't even really look for the nuances within the person. We just be like, hey, this motherfucker's this, he's that. Mm-hmm. And with Andrew, he feels if he backpedals and says, look, I'm not racist. You know, I don't have any issues with black women, this and that. He feels like he's being too politically correct. And I think that's where he's fucking up, because he doesn't have to pander to anybody. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to pander to black women. He doesn't have to pander to anybody. But I think that he could have just let it go. He's got too much success. He's done too much. And he's working too hard to defend a joke that's really not that funny.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. If you're going to, I've heard Andrew crack 1 million black jokes. I'm sitting there busting up laughing on the podcast because I listen to nuanced conversations. So I can listen just how people listen to us. By the way, I just earlier in the podcast, I said, hey man, make sure you take your girl to the concert, especially if that head is fire, right? And we started laughing. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine somebody hearing that for the first time on a podcast? They're like, who is this misogynist motherfucker on this episode? I don't ever want to listen to them again. I don't want to hear about two guys talking about head on a podcast. That's how fucking easy it is to completely dismantle someone's character. It's very easy to do it. Mm-hmm. But I still think, I think the difference between us is we actually have the responsibility of not trying to double down on something. We're not ever going to tell anyone how they should feel about anything.
Yeah. And also, if you said it, you said it. And
absolutely,
they have the right to not like the content. And then if they don't want to listen, that's great. There's no reason to double down on like somebody feeling disrespected.
And first of all, too, I'm not going to be like, well, if you don't like what we say, go find some content that's going to pacify you and they'll do that. Well, fine. If a person wants content that pacifies them, they have the right to do that. Mm-hmm. That's their right. Mm-hmm. Right? If they want to listen to a podcast that uplifts black women and never cracks jokes on them, they have a right to do that. Yeah. They can go listen to a black woman on a podcast that just uplifts black women and tells them powerful things. They have the right to do that. Mm-hmm. What do you say? There's that's not I was about to use a bad analogy. There's more than one way to skin a cat. That's a terrible fucking analogy. Who is skinning cats out here? God damn. We got some terrible analogies and what do you call it? Idioms.
Right.
Like kill two birds with one stone. Like that's a tall task, first of all.
Yeah.
You got one rock killing two birds. You got to be a fucking marksman. Is this David and Goliath? Who is this guy?
Right.
Right?
You got to be the freaking United Healthcare serial killer.
Oh goddamn! See, they're gonna get Keith. They're gonna get him out of here. They're getting Keith the fuck out of here.
I'm just saying, he's the only one I could kill 2 birds with one stone.
Golly.
Yeah, he probably have a little thing on there too. It says like, "I'm gonna get you, pigeon" or something like that.
Yeah, pigeons, eagles, and crows.
Some cryptic message. God damn.
See, there's literally and it's look. When you're talking on a podcast and you're literally shooting the shit, like we literally just there'll be some animal rights activists that hears that joke and says, "You guys are pieces of shit. You just cracked a joke about skinning a cat and fucking killing a bird with one stone."
Yeah.
And you talked about killing a bird assassination style, which is wild.
Right.
You guys know we wouldn't harm an animal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't, probably Keith. But
Yeah, I haven't done like the whole, what do they call it? The little shooting, like duck hunting or nothing like that.
Yeah, Keith had an affinity for duck hunt when he was a kid. And they expelled him from school because he couldn't. He always brought that Nintendo gun. He was looking for birds, but if he had some live rounds, it would have been a different story. Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's a cool little short movie.
Yeah.
Duck Hunt featuring Keith Fingers.
Like a young version of me though.
Yeah, like a little kid walking around the little Nintendo gun, and all of a sudden you find a real gun in a trash can.
Yeah.
And it's got like some live rounds in it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden like a Nintendo background music comes on.
Yeah. And I don't
know
know the gun is real.
You don't know the gun's real?
Damn.
And like you're really shooting people.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're playing my game.
It's like all you have to do is reset the game. he's slumped.
When you died on those games in like the 90s or in the 80s, it was always like some like completely different song when you died.
Yeah.
Like it'd be upbeat like do 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 do.
Yeah. It would get dark fast.
And then when you die, it's like boom 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 boom.
Yeah. He'd be pissed off.
Like
God
fuck,
damn.
man! I've been playing the same level for 2 days. Fuck, jump Mario! God damn it!
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to get so fucking pissed playing Mario
Yeah.
that like back in the day playing Nintendo, the controller had a wire that went to the console. So he would be like, God damn it, jump. He'd be jumping with the controller and he pulls the whole fucking controller.
The whole system.
The whole system gets pulled off and then the game shuts off. And
Yeah.
you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Like you're not supposed to actually, Mario's supposed to jump, man.
Yeah, not the controller.
Mario got to jump, nigga, not you.
Or the people that be like turning with the they playing Mario Kart, but they turn in the controller. Like,
It's
that's gonna do
like,
something.
bro, that's not. Yeah, Mario can't feel you turning him sideways, man.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, but I think that what you could take from me and Keith's take on this is it's a very objective take. Like the fact that me and Keith, I think it would be hypocritical if me and Keith got on here and be like, you should never make fun of this group or this person or this or this. But I think that at the same time, when it's based in a stereotype, you gotta be careful with that. And if it is based in a stereotype, you have to, I think it was lazy. That's what I'll say. Like, Andrew had over a week to prepare because it was during the break when he came back from the podcast. So this dude has been stewing on this. I really want to take a shot at Andrew as a comedian because I felt like it was lazy what he did. I felt it was like you had a whole week and that's the best you could do.
Yeah, you're better than that.
Yeah,
Even the response to Meek Mill about Meek Mill being gay and stuff like that, that was funny. Like,
yeah.
And I think he probably came up with that over the course of a couple days.
Right.
But I thought I don't know. Like as a fan of somebody, it's almost like when like your favorite artist. I'm not saying Andrew's my favorite comedian, but I'm just saying like the same idea where it's like when your favorite artist is they drop a song that you don't really like, and you're like, dang dog, like your last album was fire. What happened? But yeah, I just think that I don't know, that response just wasn't that great, and I think his special will probably be fire. So I think people will kind of his like. The guys like us who kind of just like, this is kind of like 2 or 3.
It's a moment.
2 or 3 duds in a row. Like what, can you like bring me back along so I can like, you know, like appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that, this is the last like month or so. You know, in terms of like this conversation, this ongoing conversation is just not. It's not something that I'm not defending that.
No,
you know,
you
just
can't.
because it's not. Yeah, it's not really my place. If you want to do it, if you want to die on that hill, go for it. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've had these same conversations with Dave Chappelle and like the trans community when it was happening. And the thing about it is we were like, bro, like, I think he mentioned his story, and the friendship that he had with his friend that was trans that ended up committing suicide, and he had a satirical like explanation for things, and he describes something, and he had a real relationship with this person as a friend that was also a comedian. So they understood the jokes, but everybody on the outside was like, you're using the trans person as a way to get you out of this or that. Like, you're never going to be able to defend your way out of whatever you said. Like, just tell your story and move on.
Yeah. I think this is what I would say with the whole Andrew Schultz thing. I think this was like the classic. And we've all, meaning me and Eddie, have experienced a very like unfunny joke at the expense of us being the black person.
Absolutely.
And
my God.
That's kind of what happened. Because like I was saying, when you really look at Andrew Schultz as life, like he's not, I don't think he's racist. Like in the depths of his bones, I don't think he's racist. I just think that when you look at him, a white man married to a white woman, who voted for Donald Trump, who has had a historical run of people kind of like thinking that he's very conservative already, who's like, you know, and you got to think about his audience is predominantly probably, I would say majority white males. I think he has like a few people sprinkled in there, but I think when we went to the show, I think it was primarily like white men at the show.
Yeah.
So when you look at all of those things, I was like, oh yeah, it does look like that. Like, hey, why are black people so tall? Because they're Negroes. Like that's kind of like what it felt like. Or like, you know, like any of those weird experiences I'm sure you've had just being like the only black guy.
Me and Keith have experienced this a lot at open mics. Like when we go to open mic, or it'll be like us and like a couple of our, you know, other friends.
All the times at the open mics.
Oh man, it'll be like something alluding to like the black table, or people
having like big dicks, or like, you know, just some like strange,
strange like stereotype. And I think the thing about it is I don't mind a black joke when it's funny. When it's funny, that means you're in on the joke and you're not the joke. That's why if you're a person where you can laugh at jokes that you like only, then I think you really don't have the experience of it. But when you've done stand up and you've watched other comedians that will say this, it's like you guys must not have any black friends. Like you don't have any experience with black people.
Right.
When all of the jokes are alluding to like some stereotype.
Yeah, your experience is like you know, TV and things like that. But I think that's why I think guys like Bill Burr or Gary Owen,
right?
That's why they kind of get a little. I think they get not necessarily a pass, but I think people appreciate them a little more because they're both. Well, Gary Owen, not now. Well, I don't know what his new.
Is he black?
The new baby mom is
she's black too,
yeah. But yeah, he was married to a black woman for a very long time, and then Bill Burr is also married to a black woman. So like it's a little different, you know, coming from those people that have experience with black women.
It's a little deeper than just being married to a black woman. I think that what happens is when they'll crack these jokes, they speak to the nuances of like black culture or something that you may.
But that's what I'm saying. They have that experience because they are married to black women,
right?
You know,
right.
Instead of not, you know, it just. We don't necessarily so we won't know that. I mean, you probably didn't know Gary Owen because he had reality TV and stuff like that. But if you're Bill Burr, if you're just like looking at him and you're like, oh, like I actually thought that joke, and I can't think of an example, but I'm saying like if we hear him tell a joke about black women or something like that, or black people, you'd be like, oh, that's funny, and you say like it has all the things that you're talking about, like we're in on the joke and. You know, it's done in a tasteful way, and it's not like discriminatory or malicious or whatever. But then you actually do a deep dive on his life, and you're like, oh, his wife is she's definitely black. You know, so
the thing about Bill Burr, like when he speaks about like black people, he has this joke where he's like, yo, like black guys put their racism at the front, not at the end. So nobody calls them on their shit. They're like, yeah, you know, this Asian motherfucker was over there tripping, whatever. And then he was like, oh, I didn't even hear the Asian part. He's like, but white people be like, you know what, this fucking Asian. And then it was like, see, that's the problem, you racist piece of shit. He's like, black folks, they put the racism at the beginning, not the end.
Yeah.
That shit had me fucking dying. So I think the thing about it is there's I'm not saying you have to coddle people or put it in a way and package it perfectly, but when you really take your time as a comedian or a person who crafts jokes, usually the end product is something that people are like, you know what, I may not even like that joke, but I respect the level of the masterful delivery of that joke.
Yeah, but even with all of that, you know, we could move on. But even with all of that, there's still going to be people that are offended. Yeah, and that's just the nature of whether it's Dave Chappelle, you know, even though he introduced the story saying like he has his friend, like the whole special was about his friend who was trans, you know, whatever the case may be. And, you know, like Gary Owen and is it Gary Owens or Gary Owen?
Gary Owen. Just black people put an extra S at the end.
Yeah, so Gary Owen and Bill Burr and these guys, like, you know, they make fun of the black community. But if it doesn't really land, then, I mean, you got to deal with it.
See, before all this shit went on, Charlamagne was laughing at Theo Von because Theo Von said, you know, that Charlamagne, that's a beautiful man right there. And he's like, yeah, Charlamagne, telling you, man, if he was a female, he have all the brothers in the flurry, you know what I'm saying? And then he's like, yeah, I definitely put a wig on him and fuck him for sure, right? And Charlamagne was busting up laughing at this shit. This is before all this shit went on with Andrew.
Yeah.
Right? And I just think people have different sense of the humor.
Charlamagne has a twisted sense of
humor. He has a twisted
sense
of humor. So I can't expect black women to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to put y'all in that position.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on, man. This is definitely dragging this shit too long. All right, switching gears. Rock and roll style. All right, switching gears. A blow-up doll in front of Long Beach's Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. So if you know about Chicken and Waffles, it's like a soul food black staple restaurant. When you think chicken and waffles, you think black history, right? So it says, so what was the deal with the blow-up Trump doll in front of Long Beach's Roscoe Chicken and Waffles? Right? And it says, basically they're saying, let's see here. Roscoe's has been synonymous with black LA culture. Epicurious Expeditions, who spoke with the eatery, asked not to use her real name. I grew up poor and my mom would scrimp up time to take us to the restaurant. It was a pillar of the black community. For them to side with the man who supported the death penalty of Central Park 5 and turn their back on us like that was very painful. I think there's new ownership, actually. A businesswoman named Diane Farah, who identifies herself as a partner in Roscoe's on Instagram profile, chimed in on the Trump inflatable debate. And it said, in a since deleted comment, Vera wrote, you can copy the recipe, but I guarantee the recipe won't taste the same, in response to that girl, because somebody did that. But fuck all that. I need to get to the meat and potatoes. Here it is. The eatery spoke with the source close to Long Beach's Roscoe Chicken and Waffles, who suggested that the inflatable was meant for an event at an adjacent bar called the Seabird Jazz Lounge. Seabird Jazz Lounge, which is closed, is now identified as Roscoe's Jazz Lounge online. The space is attached to Roscoe's building. When asked who reserved the next door lounge, Vera said the inflatable doll was brought from the Lagop and URBT News, who hosted the watch party at the Jazz Lounge, which is located right next to Roscoe's. And it says, where does it say here? The Roscoe's. Where is it at? Damn it. Basically, it was a. God damn it. Though Roscoe's original owner, Herb Hudson, opened in the first location in 1975, the last decades has seen noteworthy struggles for blah, blah, blah. Fuck all that. La Brea Avenue, Washington, the rapper, P&B Rock, Waffle. There's basically conservatives who occupied the space, basically. I was trying to find the fucking article. It's just too much here. So there was two groups that were very conservative that occupied Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles space, and that's why the Trump thing was in front. Mm-hmm. So this is all I got to say about it, man. Here's the deal. If you are in the business of selling chicken and waffles, just do that. Like, you don't have to pander to black people, right? Like, I understand. Like, this is a soul food restaurant, and a vast majority of black people voted Democrat. And I think it's important to read the room and know the analytics. And it doesn't mean just because they're left-leaning black people at a soul food restaurant that you have to pander to them. Mm-hmm. But just shut up. Mm-hmm. Just sell chicken and waffles and just be quiet. Like, I don't understand why the inflatable Trump doll. That's like, okay, for example, just imagine this. What's like a really white establishment that a lot of like right-wing people go to? I'm trying to think. What's that, like Pro Bass fishing place or something like that? Mm-hmm. Or maybe like a gun store or some shit like that, right?
Yeah. Imagine
all of a sudden, in front of that store, you had like a Black Lives Matter poster and stuff up there. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And I just think that you don't have to make a political stance to sell a product. Stop doing that. Mm-hmm. Just stop. Just please stop. Like, if I'm a guy and I have a clothing brand, right? And I find out the analytics and I see that it's like a vast majority of the people who wear my stuff are like maybe the age of 31 and they happen to be conservative. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to come out with like a Black Lives Matter version of something and sell it. Mm-hmm. I don't feel personally, and I might get some shit for this, I don't feel the need to wear a political party or my personal beliefs on what I'm selling. Mm-hmm. If I'm selling cheeseburgers at a restaurant and I see just a bunch of white dudes and like maybe some Asian people and some other people and they're buying the food, mm-hmm. I just don't feel the need to make all these statements. It's a business.
Yeah.
I could still hold on to everything that I believe and I can still exercise those things outside of my business. Mm-hmm. I don't have to, to do that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like everybody nowadays, you gotta wear your political party everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. Why is this necessary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think it's kind of hard to gather like what the real intent behind that was. I was trying to figure out like, because when you look at the picture, it is actually next door to the thing. But then, you see that it says that it's Roscoe's Jazz Lounge, which was like a previous,
they were occupying that space.
Another business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I think, and, she's claiming that there was somebody that hosted an event there. I will say that the woman, I looked at the woman, she's like pasty white, right?
Oh, that owns the place?
She's the partner. Her name is like something. I just looked up her Instagram. She's like DV_.
Oh, I see it right here. I see it.
Yeah. So I looked at her Instagram and she's like a white woman. And that's like, this is what happens. Like, we have a restaurant here who's like, what is like the Bakersfield version of Roscoe's, which was, it used to be called Jay's Place. And I forget what happened. I think did the guy pass away?
From who?
Jay's Place.
I don't remember, bro.
I think that he died, if I'm not mistaken. Or I think he got shot or some to that effect. But now the restaurant is not owned by that same people. I believe the restaurant is probably owned by white people. And this is like, this is what comes with the territory. So, if we're taking what they're saying, so if this is what I would say. If we're taking what they're saying as the truth, there's just an event that was hosted there, and they just had an inflatable, and that was like, it's not connected to the restaurant, Mm-hmm. But then also, if you look at the woman and you're like, if they do own the property next door, and she looks kind of like somebody, that would kind of vote for Donald Trump. Like, I can see a world where it's like, hey, whatever, Deb or whatever your name is, we're trying to host this party. Like, would you mind if we use this space over there? Oh, sure thing. Don't worry about it. And it's probably like your friend or somebody that you're
read
like,
the room, man.
Yeah, that you're in business with, and you're like, yeah, sure thing, you can do that. But then it's just like, dog, you took ownership of a historically black establishment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just think that's like, I think that whoever you voted for, fine, but like, it's food, dog. It's chicken.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just keep it away from the chicken.
You know what? I'm going to go and say this. As a black man, if I was to buy an establishment, let's say I could have stake in a very successful Chinese restaurant in Los Angeles, which has been historically Chinese people, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously they probably, financially needed, somebody to partner with or whatnot. And let's say I owned, I could basically put my influence on that business. Mm-hmm. I would try my best to try to keep those things intact. I would not try to disrespect that culture or anything in any capacity. Mm-hmm. Like if it's if I see a bunch of Asian families that are coming there with their kids to eat there, I want to make sure that continues to happen. Mm-hmm. If business is flowing that way, I'm not trying to be like going to a Chinese restaurant and be like, hey, we got soul food now. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I think this is no different. I think this lady, and then I see a comment that she made here, which is pretty distasteful. She said, you can copy our recipe, but I guarantee the sauce won't taste the same. Basically, the lady that, was like, I guess she didn't put her name, but she put her Instagram handle was there. And she was showing everybody how to make everything at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Mm-hmm. She made the brine and everything. Mm-hmm. And she says, the funny part is the internet, we don't even plan that. The RNC called the bar next door and reserved that space for an event, like anybody could have. Though the cancel culture and even your own people is clearly from the far left, never understood that. Y'all can stay canceling us. Business is up 20%. I think that was very distasteful because you got to look at what she said. She said, though cancel culture and even your own people, which is black people, is clearly from the far left. Never understood that. Y'all can stay canceling us. Well, let's be clear, lady. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is a black business. Mm-hmm. Are you fucking stupid? Like, you're in Long Beach. There's no way that you plan on keeping that place open. You must be trying to shut that place down. You must be. It was up 20% until they found out what was going on. It was up past tense. Mm-hmm. But I think that now that they're privy to what's going on in Long Beach, I don't know how long that place is going to stand up.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I just think that you're burying your business that way. That's why I just mentioned, like, if I find out and I get the analytics on who's supporting my business, I don't have to pander to them. Just be quiet and sell the fucking burgers or the chicken. Yeah. You could be white and take over a black business. It happens. It's a business. Businesses get sold. That's what happens. But when you start to detach the fibers that which built that whole fucking business, that's when you fucked up. Mm-hmm. That's when you really fucked up. You don't do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then they deleted. They had an Obama meal that was there, and it was taken off the menu. And I'm like, yo, y'all just too conservative to own a black business. Like, this is the place where, like, they got pictures of a bunch of historically. They got like Barack Obama in there. His meal was like a 3-piece wing with whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And you take it off the menu? Like, you're too conservative. There's some people that are too fucking liberal. But at the same time, like you said, your people, like, this is why when we had this conversation about Andrew, if somebody from the outside looking in seen that comment, they would think the lady was racist. Mm-hmm. Were you looking at the chicken?
Yeah, I was looking at the meal.
It looked good, huh?
Yeah.
All right, nigga, he's putting that phone close to his face. That chicken was looking good.
Yeah, the meal's fire.
The thing about it, though, here's the thing. Like, yes, black people predominantly have a history with that place, but that location specifically can probably change. Like, it could go from that to like maybe a bunch of like right-wing people going to that place. Just as a rebellion. I've noticed that a lot of people, especially people who support Trump, will come out in the droves, to make a statement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll put their money behind it. Because I seen a picture that they had at that lounge, and it was super conservative, and there was no black people there.
Yeah.
Like, my thing is, if there was like conservative black people in there, ain't shit I could say. Ain't nothing I could say. If you got a significant amount of black people and they got Trump hats on, ain't nothing nobody can say. But when I don't see nothing but white people in a fucking soul food place, what the fuck is going on here?
It's just appropriation. I think that's like really what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like, because we see some conservative black people. That's not a big deal to me personally. Like, I think we're free people. We could choose and do whatever we want. But goddamn.
Yeah.
Like, we talking about a soul food restaurant, man. Oh, man. That's like me going there. I was about to say Panda. Panda is not no Chinese restaurant. It's not traditional Chinese food, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's like going to Billy's. We got a place called Billy's.
Yeah, for sure.
That shit is so fucking good. I haven't had that place in years.
Yeah, Billy's is good.
What's better to you, Billy's or Rice Bowl?
Probably Rice Bowl.
Rice Bowl?
Mm-hmm. I like Rice Bowl better.
I don't see how they ain't had no gang war. They right next to each other, too.
The triad.
They go outside. See, that was racist as a motherfucker. See what I'm saying? If you just listen to us for the first time, you'd be like, I ain't never listen to them again. I ain't never listen to them again.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It'd be like one of the movies, you fell for my mortal technique. The next time, I'll be prepared. Oh, man. Yeah, shout out to the Asians, man.
Yeah. I don't know. This conversation is a little weird just because, I don't know what the facts are.
Nah.
The only facts we got is that it's next door and there's a big Trump thing up there, but she seems to not be claiming that they own the spot or whatever, so I don't know. But she does look, just from the outside looking in, she looks like a conservative woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Being a conservative shouldn't make you a fool.
Right. Yeah.
But she's clearly a fool. And then said business is up 20%. We'll fucking see about that. We'll see about that because there's black people now that they know what's going on. This article came out right when it was going on. So when you mention that 20%, that's past tense, lady. That is past tense. Let's come back to this shit in the next month and see what's happening with those deals, with those sales.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
It's just tone deaf, man. That's why I'm glad I grew up. I'm glad I grew up in a multicultural upbringing where I went to school with a lot of people. I think whenever you grow up and you don't have no Mexican friends, no white friends, no Indian friends, you just got nothing but people who look like you. You don't even remotely understand what's going on in other people's lives and how seriously they take their culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's that, man. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears and wrap this shit up. This next one should be real quick, y'all. All right, switching gears. Donald Trump promotes $199 cologne, new Trump watches, and latest merchandise push. So you got the next, the 47th president?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
45 and 47.
Yep. So you got the 47th president selling merch at a time where people can't really afford food. This nigga's selling cologne that was not made in America. All right, Trump. All right, we get it. All right, hey. All right, let's see here. He got a bunch of shit selling, dude. He had those shoes he came out with.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the shoes.
Man, Trump Fragrance website features cologne and perfume labeled "Fight, Fight, Fight." The phrase Trump appeared to say after his assassination attempt on him during the campaign. This seems like a horribly written movie. Trump, who previously promoted a line of Trump watches ranging from 100,000. Holy shit. Announced several new additions ranging from $499 to the collector set valued at more than $5,300. Among the new watches are the Silver Trump Racer, valued at $22,999, and an $899 First Lady edition featuring Trump's name and signature. God damn. Here's the deal, man. I'll say this. I don't think there's anything wrong with selling merchandise if you're not the president. You're the president of the United fucking States, man. And you got people out here that can't afford bread and fucking food. You got people that work full-time jobs and have a hard time paying for freaking child care and things of that nature. And it's like, this is just an example of how detached politicians are from reality. They think it's a good time to sell something, right? Trump thinks it's a good idea to sell some fucking watches in Cologne. It probably smells like bologna, right?
Yeah.
And Biden is over here pardoning his crackhead son just a week ago. Like, these people don't give a fuck about us. That's one of the main reasons why I brought this up. I want y'all to know that whoever you voted for, they don't give a fuck about you. They prove it. All you got to do is pay attention. All Biden did was fall down and bail his crackhead son out during his administration. I'm sure he had a lot of little.
Not bail.
Not bail. Pardon. Right. So you got to look at what these people are a part of, man. And Trump has mentioned, like, we're gonna bring our economy back. We got to get our economy back on its feet. We got to do that. If you can acknowledge that the economy is not in a great place right now, nigga, why you selling shit for? Stop selling me shit, man. I don't care to buy nothing you got. There's nothing you got that I need to buy right now. Because liberals and conservatives ain't up like that, dog. I don't care how many people on the right might have a little money. They don't got it like that. They're still regular American citizens. And I think that, what's the number of paycheck to paycheck? Like 70-something%? That's so motherfucking, that's not 70% liberals. That's not 70% conservatives. That's 70% of Americans.
Yeah.
It might be higher than that. I'm looking at an outdated number.
I think that if you can't afford it, then it's not for you. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like the concerts, right?
Yeah, it's like Donald Trump. He's a billionaire. Like, I don't know. He's not going to change because he's a president. Like, he's been a shrewd businessman since we, came to know him in the 90s and whatnot. So I think that, this is pretty much on par. And if you can afford it, which a lot of these, conservatives probably can't afford it, and they want to support Donald Trump any way they can, they're gonna buy it. Same thing with the MAGA hats. Like, it's just part of his thing. I think, and there's a lot of political, whether it's T-shirts or stickers on the bumpers of cars or flags, all that stuff is, part of the thing.
Here's the reason why I had this take of like why are you selling me shit? Like, is for this reason. You're right about it. But when you're sitting in the highest seat in the United States, don't sell me shit. I don't want to buy it. That's my point. I don't want to buy it from you. If your son was selling shit, okay. If your cousin was selling shit, okay. But the president, just be the president, nigga. Stop trying to sell me stuff. And here's the thing. Here's the stats. According to various sources, a large percentage of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 78%. 78%. Here's another one. 70%. 2023 Forbes Advisory found that nearly 70% of respondents either identified as living paycheck to paycheck or reported that their income doesn't cover their standard expenses. Here's another one. 59%, according to Charles Schwab research, of Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless. That's fucking high. It's over 50%. Then 35% of households earning less than $50,000 per year are living paycheck to paycheck. What's the 20 percentile one? Around 20% of households with more than $150,000 live paycheck to paycheck. 73%, nearly 3/4 of millennials report living paycheck to paycheck. Like, all these stats don't reflect a thriving America is the point I'm trying to make. And if that is the current status or the current landscape of this country, buying a $100,000 watch from the 47th president of the United States should not even be an option. But whenever you're rich, like you mentioned, a shrewd businessman, and you said that your dad gave you a small loan of $1 million, you can never relate to the American experience. Some people are like, Trump is for America. He's going to change America. All right. Now, the next time you pull the president's cock out your mouth and you buy his fucking $100,000 watch, let me know how it tastes. Well, don't tell me. I don't want to fucking know.
But that's the America that works for them. If you can afford a $100,000 watch and you voted for Donald Trump, it's like, all you're doing is voting your interests.
Yeah. If you bought a $100,000 watch, you might be the CEO of United Healthcare.
I just think that the people that can be angry are the people that, I don't know. If you voted for him, you shouldn't have any reason to be angry at whatever he does because you kind of knew what he was going into it.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really, no. No, because a lot of people are willfully ignorant to the things that are right there. See, anything that is a contrary to his character, people they tend to ignore it. I think the biggest Trump people, they don't acknowledge any of his faults. That's the scary thing. I think I've always been very politically objective for the fact that even if I'm voting for voting liberal in any capacity, like I voted for Biden, and I just noticed he was just a lousy fucking president. I can say that. People that vote for Trump, he could just stand up on a podium and start peeing. They'll be like, "There's never been a president that has been that real with us." He'd be like, "He peed in public."
Yeah.
There were kids there. I know there was kids there, but see, that's the real America that we need. You'd be like, "Dude, you guys might think I'm joking. I'm dead serious. There's nothing that this motherfucker can do that a Trump supporter will call him out on. It is wild. It is the most tribalistic shit that you will ever see." My only thing is this: if you voted for Trump, that's fine, but you need to call him out when he's doing something that is weird, destructive, or counterproductive to Americans. Just see it and call it out. That's all I'm saying. If I could do it with anybody I voted for, whether it's Obama or Biden, y'all gotta say something, man. Because this dude, I don't know, man. I hope he does good by this country. I genuinely, I'm not praying for that man's downfall, because there's some liberals out there like, he's not gonna do this and he's not gonna do that, and then it's like, stop praying on that man's downfall. Just don't do that. You should really hope that Trump does a great job for this country.
Yeah.
But a lot of y'all that's real Trump supporters, you will never ever hold that man accountable. That's the sad shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think that they don't care, because the only thing that they cared about is that he got into office.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like, the sad part is like they have like the same talking points. Like there's a difference between a conservative and a Trump supporter. Those are two different people, I've learned. Trump supporters are like, these crybaby liberals. It's like you could put like a doll and you pull the string on their back. Crybaby liberals.
Yeah.
Libtards. Whoop. Libtards.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a couple qualifications. If you want to be a Trump supporter, there's a couple things you need. First, a lifted truck. You got to have a lifted truck. Second of all, you need a American flag bumper sticker on the back of your truck, or you need to have a big flag sticking out the back of it.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to have an NRA bumper sticker on the left panel of your bumper of your car in the back. You got to have that.
Yeah.
If you are a Biden supporter, just be gay or trans.
Oh, dang.
No, I'm just playing.
Oh, dang.
I'm just kidding, guys. Oh my God. Is it time to end the podcast, Keith?
Yeah, probably so.
Oh man. Life is crazy, right?
Yeah, Eddie's so crazy.
Yeah, making that distinction that it was me. All right, God damn it.
It was crazy.
All right, man. Well, it looks like we came to the end of this one. If you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.